know we have some hardcore gamers out there. We have some fans of all his work, all his, everything he's done, right? This guy needs no introduction, but we're going to give him an introduction, so here we go. So check this out. I went on IMDb, and I sat there and I'm like, oh my gosh, how do I summarize this guy? He's done everything. So he's been in dozens and dozens and tens of dozens of movies and TV shows throughout the years. So we're going to give you the highlights here. So he's done The Deadpool 9 Months, The Californian's Midnight Caller, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure for all you anime fans, right? Thank you, dramatic pause. Nash Bridges, Air America, and the narrator of a very excellent video game documentary called High Score. His video game credits include, and this is an even longer list, we have Skyrim, Police Quest, Super Punch-Out, Space Quest 6, Star Wars X-Wing Alliance, Skies of Arcadia, Jet Set Radio Future, Ratchet & Clank, A Crack in Time, Runner 2, Runner 3, and a couple other Nintendo games. Way too many to count, and I do mean that literally. I tried to count all the games in which he did Luigi and Wario. Round of applause. Insert applause. There we go. Waluigi. And of course, there is one more. So with no further ado, it is with a great honor, great pleasure that TooManyGames and Pastor Controller bring you the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend. It's the him, Mario, Mr. Charles Martinet.
Very much for playing my games. And Mario, have a rockin' day. Yahoo! Oh wait, I forgot Mommy said say something nice. There, I said it, and I meant it. And Luigi, I always come last. And baby Mario, let's go. Yahoo! Hi! Such a pleasure to be here. I'm not sure exactly where we are. It's near Philadelphia, near the King of Prussia.
Yes, yeah. So it's funny because in this area, we still, even though we're like 30 minutes outside of the Philadelphia metro, we still call this Philadelphia.
Okay, so great to be here in Philadelphia.
There you go, yeah.
I didn't know. I knew there's a Target. I can't say it's really great to be here near a Target, because I'm so happy to get here. TooManyGames is one of my favorite shows, well, if not the favorite show I've ever done. I just love it. People who love video games, people who love Mario games, are the best people in the whole wide world. You know, it really, so I so appreciate every single interaction at the table, every interaction as I'm just walking along. You guys are so great. Thank you very much. I'm really grateful to Nintendo for giving me the chance for 31 years now to play these marvelous characters that I fell in love with. Thank you.
And we thank you for sharing your time. This is amazing. And you are a notoriously fan-friendly individual. And it was great to see all of your interactions all weekend with all your fans in line. They came out in droves, and we just really, really appreciate having you here. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so grateful. I'm most grateful to the people who love Mario games. It's because of you. And I think I have the best life in the world. All I do is travel around the world and play and have fun. And it's, it's the one thing that I wish for everybody. We have so much gratitude in our lives that for somebody like me, I receive so much gratitude, and I'm so thankful for that. But we don't usually say thanks to the electrician who makes the plug in the wall that every day we have a toaster. Oh, thanks, man. I raised 3 kids. I had a toaster there. Every time I want a toast, I just plug in, But it's like the gratitude that I feel is just so incredible. And the gratitude that I feel from you is so great. So thank you so much. Thank you. And I wish for you that you get the same experience of gratitude and joy. I'm a big, enormous believer that, acting is like, it's like a dog chasing a ball on the beach, There's no third eye watching, oh, should I wag my tail? Should I this? It's like, oh boy, a ball on the beach. Yippee! And that's all you do as a dog, go chase the ball with a stick. And it's like there's a certain element that a dog has of self-love and self-appreciation and in-the-moment things that is all about what acting is about. But it's also a little bit about what all of life is about. We're all grow up so critical of ourselves and so full of, we have this innocence as a child. It's glorious like a puppy, and then we start, criticizing ourselves and taking on those voice of criticism until we paralyze ourselves in our adolescence. And it's our job as adults to shed that back off, all that critical voice, all that, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not good looking enough, you're too heavy, you're too light, you're too tall, you're too short, you're curly hair instead of straight hair, all those things that we do. And you need to get rid of them and fall in love with yourself and become your own best friend. And that's a lifelong effort. I still struggle with that every morning when I'm grumpy, But it's like it really is.
I can imagine you grumpy.
Oh yeah, it's like, I call myself grumpy grandpa because I become 67 years old. I don't know where that happened, but I will say, I always say life is short. I'm tall, but you should go enjoy every minute of life, really. And it starts really with having a relationship with yourself, appreciating yourself, and really treating yourself like your own best friend, like the person that you most want to be with, because you are. So you might as well learn that lesson of loving yourself, because really, I really actually believe when you're focused on your dreams, your vision, your goal, your life, your happiness, bringing happiness to other people, it just naturally really happens. It just really, really happens. Thank you. Joy and happiness are the promise of life, and it's there for you. But first, you have to, get rid of your own little, that little Waluigi will hiss at you, and it's like, okay, be quiet, shut up, and just quiet that down so you can hear your own heart, because we're all really beautiful people. That's one thing I've learned, and we're all the same, no matter what your religion, your faith, or lack of faith, or non-faith, color, skin, sex, sexuality. We're all just beautiful, wonderful human beings, and we deserve that love to ourselves first, and then back out to the world. So, thank you. And I always talk about, hey, plan your future, do your things, or love yourself, do these things. But I have to say too, is like I say these things and I really believe them, but I also am fully aware that I just fall into everything. I just go around my life like, oh look, a butterfly, oh look, and I just go in those directions. And I had no intention of being an actor. But my dad was miserable in his work. He invented all these products for Kaiser refractories. What happens in a blast furnace at 5,000 degrees to a mold, and how can you make a mold? It's exactly what I do, but completely different. So, but he was unhappy, and I thought, I'm never going to be unhappy. So I always changed my life based on where the happiness was going to be. So I just, I thought I did theater for 10 years. I'm like, I'm not happy in theater. I'm going to be a businessman. Okay, I failed completely. I'm going to be, and then the phone rings. Hey, you want to audition for a corporate video? Sure. What's a corporate video? It's a video that's corporate. Oh, what do I do? Act. Okay. And then suddenly I'm doing 600 corporate videos. I'm doing my little silly cute corporate videos, and someone says, oh, we're going to make you have to look like the guy in the American Gothic with a pitchfork. So come and do this, we're going to do it's a commercial for Art Supply Hardware. So like, okay, and I go there and I'm holding my little pitchfork for 9 hours. And then he goes, oh, great, do you do voiceover? Yeah, sure. I think I didn't really know what a voiceover was. Honestly, I don't think I did. Because to me, Fred Flintstone, who I grew up with, Daffy Duck, those were real people. They're not Mel Blanc, they're a real person, And so I kind of went, yeah, sure. And he goes, give me the copy, and I go, Art Supply Hardware, the right item at the right price, right now. And he goes, okay, here's another $250. I'm a voice actor! I'm just that shallow, really. But it's like, oh, okay, I'll do that. And I ended up doing like a couple of thousand radio and TV commercials and having fun. And then, then I'm doing what, other things like trade shows, where you go inside the 4868 multi-processing computer. There are 48 vectors of RAM, with this little earphone in my ear telling me what I'm supposed to know, because I don't want to know these things. So I'm like, I'm like, oh, I'm a world authority. And hey, how does it work? Talk to the engineer. You know, really not knowing a thing. But, you know, I'm doing that, and then I'm just doing what actors do, sitting on the beach, waiting for the pager to go off. This is 32 years ago, but you wait for a pager to go off. And my pager went off, and I'm like, oh, I'm Dr. Charles. Yeah. They go, oh, it's my friend. I guess we're gonna go have dinner. So I leave the beach, brush the sand off. I get the phone, hey, you know, what's going on? We're gonna have dinner? No, you should go crash this audition. My friend, I'm a professional actor. I would never crash an audition. Where should I go? And I have no idea why. I've never done it before. I should have done it again, I guess. I left the beach, I drive into downtown, brush the sand, and I find a parking space. I'm walking in the building as the guy, the producer, and the cameraman are walking out the building. And I said, hi, can I read for this? And I mean, there was that moment of, you know, all right, come on inside, we'll set the camera up. You're an Italian plumber from Brooklyn named Mario with this company called Nintendo. I had never heard of Nintendo. I had never heard of Mario. Never. And I never had the idea like a video game character could talk. This is when I was doing like games like Tank Murder Kill, and there were like 100 sound files that I had to do, but each one was less than a quarter of a second. It's like, you know, now you've been shot. Oh, that's too long. You know, oh, you've been shot. Now you're hitting the stomach. You know, oh, too long. You know, so that's the sort of things I did. I'm like, oh, okay. And he said, make up a voice, make up a video game, make up anything you want, start talking, and when you run out of things to say, that's your audition. You're an Italian plumber from Brooklyn. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, Italian plumber from Brooklyn. Get out of my face, I'm wicked here. I'm like, I don't want to be that guy for 8 hours a day. You know? What if they're kids? I'll terrify them, you know? What about me? I'll terrify myself, you know? And so I've done Gremio and Taming the Shrew in my theater days. I used to tell you guys, oh, go like these. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll do something like that, but I'll make them younger, and then I'll just make them a video game. My video game experience was and I was bad at it, you know, and wacka, 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 and you know, remember that one that where we do Space Invaders, and I used to scream because it always killed me. It always killed me, you know, and I was the worst at this little game. So anyway, I'm like, what am I gonna make of it again? Okay, you know, hello, I'm Mario, point, you know, wacka, wacka, wacka. And so I thought, well, I like food, obviously. I'll make up a thing about food. And I heard action, I said, hello, I'm a Mario. Let's make a pizza pie together. You can get some sausage, I get some spaghetti. You put spaghetti and sausage in the pizza, and then we make the pizza, and I teach you the pizza. If I can't eat the pizza, you're gonna eat the pizza. And then you're gonna make the pizza, and she's eating the pizza. And I thought for sure the guy would go, yeah, okay, thanks a lot, bye. And he didn't go, yes, thank you, that's for Ralph Miller. Ralph Miller, who had the courage to sit there listening to me roll on for 30 or 45 minutes, however long the tape was, and I go, and then we're gonna make it. And I literally ran out of pasta names. So I'm, you know, tortellini, masticcioli, you know, and I'm like, and then we're gonna make a rastatoutello. It's great, the rastatoutello. And I'm gonna teach you the rastatoutello, and then you're gonna teach me the rastatoutello. And then we make a piccolo and then we chicken and then piccolo. You know, and I'm just going on and on and on. And I suddenly heard, stop talking. Cut, there's no more tape, thank you, we'll be in touch. And I, you know, of course me, that means, you know, goodbye. And so I went back to the beach, watched the sunset, went out to dinner with my friend, and he gets on the phone, he calls me Nintendo and goes, I found our Mario, I got him. And he only sent my tape up there. And so that, I guess, Mr. Miyamoto heard it, and yeah, sure, you know, it sounds good to me, you know. And, you know, but that was just the beginning of 31 years of absolute joy and happiness. And I really made the biggest effort in my life to make this character full of love and joy and the ideal man of loyalty, caring, devotion, kindness, trustworthiness, you know, all the things that I do as the perfect thing of what I want to be. So my real life mission is not to play Mario, it's to be Mario. But I'm a lot more Luigi. I'm a lot more Luigi. Every time there's change, you know, I wake up in the morning and go, oh, my knee hurts. Oh my gosh, my knee's gonna fall off today, you know? I'm much more, a little bit more timid and and of course there's a lot of Wario and Waluigi in me too. If you see me in the morning, And it's like, there's nothing more annoying. Yesterday, I you know these little coffee pods in the hotel, and I put it in, and I pushed the thing down, and it flew out into the room. I'm like, what, are you kidding me? And there's coffee little things, and I pick it up, and I put it back in, it falls back out again. It took me like 15 minutes to make coffee. I was very Waluigi at that moment. I will say that. Why are you attacking me? I want his coffee. Anyway, there it is. So in your quest to find love for yourself and become your own best friend, realize that it's a speed of whoopee, wah, 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 wah. You know, it's not a straight line. So that's my story.
That was awesome. You are far and beyond one of the most famous, notable, recognizable voice actors in the industry, particularly the gaming industry. I mean, you are the icon. What happens when you meet one of those rare people, the one in a million, who has no idea who you are and no idea what you do? How do you explain to them what you do?
I say, let's make a pizza pie together. You go get some sausage. It's funny because people, if I say to somebody, I'm the voice of Mario for Nintendo, some people swoon, and other people go, oh, it's like, but because not everybody's a gamer, which we're going to change, right? We're going to change that. Because gamers are the best people in the world. Everybody's got to be the best person in the world.
And that was my next question. You actually do play Mario games. Like, you are a gamer, correct?
Well, I'm pretty lousy. I can always find out that Princess is not in this castle. But I have never rescued her. I have had a glorious joy of being with 3 little girls as we were trying to raise them together a little bit with my little 2 cents of help. And when they got to the age of having boyfriends and they were playing Mario games, I got to see what happened at the ending.
Hey, there you go.
Otherwise, oh, she's not in this castle. See you later, guys.
So, have you ever taken stock of how many voices you have done, and also how many Mario games you have voiced?
I think somebody told me it was 161 Mario games. And I have no idea because I've done about 200 other games outside of the Mario franchise over just the course of many years of doing things before Mario. And then once Mario happened, I went, okay, reboot our life, because you can't be doing games where there's swearing and screaming and yelling, where there's violence and things like that, so I sort of rebooted my life and put those things over there because I want to identify with the image of that character, and I hold that relationship really sacred with Nintendo, with the characters, so I'm very careful. And I think that, if you have any celebrityship, you have an increase of responsibility for being kind and responsibility for being aware of your impact on humanity, and on people. So and that's why for me it's like, just be Mario and you got it made.
Do you happen to recall what was the first Mario game you voiced? Was it Mario Teaches Typing?
I think it was Mario Fundamentals, which a couple people brought. But Mario Teaches Typing, so that's the game that taught me who Mario really was. Because we were doing Mario Live for 5 years before Mario 64. And I just, it's like, there's Mario on the screen. There are people, I could put a football game on in the background, I have a little floating head, put my head on the football player, I'm gonna catch the ball, whee, and I just got to play improvisation, silly, it's like, oh, hello there, So I was just being, we got a red head on, I like a red head. So it's just me being silly. But, but they're also, when you're a young man, it's like, you're seeing the pulling and stretching to see how far the dough goes, and then, I went to Mario Teaches Typing session, I didn't think much of it, What don't do? Mario Teaches Typing, yeah, thank you.
He's coming for your job.
Yeah, right? So I got in there and I read the script and it says, you failed. You have to go back to the beginning and start again. And I went, can I possibly make that a little bit different than that? Because I don't like the idea of Mario saying no, or you failed, or you have to start over again, that was bad. And he goes, oh sure, go ahead. I said, that was great, but I know you can do even better. Let's try again. And And that was the moment for me the character came home. Of, this is a character of love and respect for absolutely everybody. And so that's what I want for myself, you know, is respect for everybody, respect for myself. And that's the loyalty, the truth thing, the thread started up in Mario teaches typing. And I've kept it there ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. You talked about something earlier about how you came to do a lot of this voice work, and it's something that really we've heard a theme over the course of this weekend when we talked to David Hayter, when we talked to Roger Craig Smith and Patricia Somerset, is that, you know, we always ask, like, you know, what happened? Was it the chicken and the egg? Did you want to become a voice actor and then set out to do it? Or did you say, oh, I just have this innate talent and just parlayed it into a career? And almost all of you have answered the same way. It almost happens, it's almost happenstance. It's almost by accident.
Yeah.
Do you feel that the industry is changing at all, where there are new talent coming up who are specifically geared towards, hey, I want to be a voice actor?
Yeah, I think
You've paved the way.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, it's like, I want to be a voice actor. You know, when you see somebody having fun, and you have fun with it, it's like, I want that too, you know? I don't think there were, you know, back when I was growing up, there were probably 12 people who did all the voices in the world, you know? And then, I really didn't know those were like 12 people. I really thought there were like 300 characters that, you know, they just talked, you know? George Jetson was a skinny guy who talked like, you know, hey, I can, you know? But I think, yeah, today a lot of people want to be in the profession. You know, it's a great, fun profession. Every time you get a phone call or a text, come and play in our sandbox, we got some new toys. And that's what you do. It's all about play. I've always been a person, I remember I was listening to NPR once, and a ballet dancer, an artist said, you know, there is no creativity without suffering. It is the suffering of the artist that creates what we know as art. And I was like, hey. Okay, maybe, you know, the tortured artist, the dark lady of the sonnets, you know, the dark heart that has to, and I'm like, that's interesting, because to me, it's all about fun. It's all about joy, it's all about silliness, it's all about crazy. Even my most villainous villains, all the comedy, always like Wario, it always comes back on him, you know, he thinks, oh, that guy finally got a throne. Oh, it's a toilet? Okay, fine. You know, it's like everything falls back on that, and that's the source of my comedy. I actually, the first year I was studying acting, I was going to be a lawyer or something like that. Actually, I was going to go into political science with a theory emphasis and do philosophy. But I couldn't get my teacher to do my thesis, so I did what mature people did, I quit. I left UC Berkeley. I went, forget it. And a friend of mine said, hey, come and take an acting class for me. I said, ha, ha, ha. Les, there is no way I could ever stand in front of people and say something. I can't, impossible. He goes, well, you know, you can always come and we'll have lunch at the cafeteria. They're going to make Michelin-starred chefs there. I said, lunch? Yeah, you don't have to do the monologue. Just go ahead and come and have lunch, and then we'll go to class. Okay, what time does it start? I went for the food. I stayed for the fun, you know, because we had lunch every day, and we'd go to class 2 or 3 times a week, and then we had to learn our first monologue, and it was like in the Spoon River anthology, like it was depressing monologue stuff, and I was sitting there in the back of the class watching everybody going, oh yeah, you know, and I'm like, uh-oh, what if this is a trap? And he got to the end and goes, well, Charles, you're up. And I was like, I got up there because of course I memorized my monologue. And I think what I said, you know, it was supposed to be like, hi, my name is Joe. I died in a terrible fire in the barn, and da, da, da. And I think what I said was, I was so petrified, and my leg was shaking like this, so I put my weight on it, and then my other leg was shaking like this. So I heard this voice inside say, split your legs open evenly, put your weight on them. And I put my weight on them, and then they're both going like this, you know? And I did the monologue, and, you know, I think I survived. And then, you know, everybody goes like this, goes, how is it that you're the only person that wasn't nervous? And I'm like, what? So then I was terrified a little bit less the next time, the next time, the next time, the next time, the next time. And then I started having fun, and then they come out and I had the audition for Midsummer Night's Dream, and I'm convinced that I should be Oberon, because my voice is really low, and there lies Titania sometime of the night. And I'm like, perfect for it. I go and audition for it, and talent theater, you watch everybody audition. I'm like, oh, I do my audition. I'm like, wow, I'm sure I won that. I called that. I think I was the best. I think I'm gonna get the part. He goes, well, Charles, don't count your chickens before they hatch. I'm like, no, I watched everybody. I was really good. So the next day, I walk in, I'll go to the casting board. And Oberon, not Charles Martinet. Oh, I must be one of the young love interest. Not Charles Martinet. Well, maybe I was the silly guy. Not Charles. I couldn't even change the sets. I got nothing. And that failure is the only reason that not the only reason. That's the main reason I became an actor. Tell me I can't do something and I'm much more interested. And my mom always used to say, oh honey, you can do anything in life. And I'm like, Ma, tell me what to do. Don't tell me I can, because you always want somebody to say, do this when you're at a crossroads. And of course, when you're 20 years old, every minute is a crossroad. Every moment is what do I do now, So but it was like the failure that led me to that. So when you're a voice actor, and it really is the ball chasing the ball chasing the dog, or the dog chasing the ball on the beach, whichever you want it to be, it really is, it's an issue of you're following your heart into a career. All acting is the same, it's just, it has to be from your heart, it has to be real, it has to have no self-consciousness. You learn your technique, you learn your ability, but it's just like life. If you want to love somebody, you don't say, oh, love looks like this. Red roses, dinner at 7 o'clock, drive home in my Mercedes, that's not love, that's the exterior of it. The love of it is the real moment, the desire of creating the safety and security, the trustworthiness, being in the present moment with the person you care about more and more. It's the development of a process. So you do all that stuff as an actor. You learn all the techniques, how close, how far to be from the microphone, how to yell, how not to hit it with your hand, You learn these things and then you abandon them all in the moment. And we are in that moment of joy and chasing the ball on the beach. So opera, it has to be huge, cartoons have to be big, video games have to be big, film has to be very small. All you have to do is feel something in film, and that's enough. That conveys it all. And if you try to be big, it's like, whoa! We did a movie called Brotherhood of Justice. And I was like 28 years old or something like that. I was the young attorney. And I look at my acting at that and I go, oh my gosh, I was terrible. Because I was being a stage actor in a movie. And it was just all wrong. It was like truthful, but it was too big. So, it's like, and I was trying to do the part instead of being the attorney who genuinely feels this guy is dangerous and he has to go to prison. And so, it's all a learning process. And it starts really with caring about yourself.
So it's very much like gaming. I guess you start off and you try and maybe don't do as well and learn a little bit more and make it to stage 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Here you are, you have the platinum trophy.
That's it. Life is like a video game, It really is. At the end, you find you go through all the difficulties, the challenges, all those things. At the end, you find out that you're the hero, and you won.
Awesome. Would you be kind enough to indulge us? The audience has a couple questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
And so, guys, the way we're going to do this is, they already know. So that microphone right there, if you guys can just peacefully, quietly, orderly, form a nice little line behind the gentleman right there in the middle. What we would ask, just a reminder, a couple things. So, most importantly, you want to have your mouth as close to the microphone as possible, kind of like this, so we can hear you up here. The second thing, just a reminder also, please do not discuss and ask questions regarding any of the Mario movies and any of the games that were just talked about during Nintendo Direct. We're all excited for them, but we don't want questions about that right now. So, with no further ado, sir, go ahead, ask the first question.
Well, I have a question about that. Can I talk about the movie that just came out or no?
We would prefer you not. Please.
Yeah, I can't really answer questions about that, and I can't really answer questions about the games that are coming out, but I can talk about other things.
Okay. Well, last year you were in the new Dragon Ball.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted to ask how that came about.
That was really great. Chris Sabat is like one of the greatest people in the world, one of the most wonderful human beings. And I was in Dubai, I was in Abu Dhabi with Sean Schimmel, And I said, I'd love to work with you guys someday. He goes, oh, I think there might be a bye, buddy. See you later. And thank you for playing my games. That's Mario, everybody. And I said to Sean, I love you. And he goes, I think that there's a part, but you should contact, Chris. And I said, okay, hey Chris, how you doing? And he goes, well, let me send you an audition and let's see. So I auditioned for it. And he goes, yeah, what are you doing this week? I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm on my way to Iceland. I have these 3 days. Is there any way? He goes, yeah, come on. So I was in Dallas at the show and it just worked out perfectly. And I can tell you, I don't know how you feel about anime. I love anime, but it's something I used to do like 30 years ago. And then I started doing Mario, and it's like, well, sometimes it's a little bit too violent. I should pull back and be more careful about what I choose to do. But then I'm doing this, and I'm realizing these anime performers are brilliant. They're just, because first of all, they translate this, and it's from Japanese to English, and then so it's a different, if you speak any languages, a sentence this long in English might be that long in French, or Spanish, or German, so they've got to figure out how to make those match the words with the things. So first the writing is brilliant, then these guys go in there and they do this performance, right, and it looks like that was always written for them, with all the emotion, all the care. It's unbelievable. So Chris had to hold my hand and go, stop paying attention to the beep, 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 and just say the words. And once I started getting out of my head, once again, out of my head, into the being in that moment, it was great.
It's awesome, thank you. Excellent question. Thanks, guys.
And oddly enough, it only took one take to do the weird death thing. We're like, yeah, that's good, okay, let's go on.
How does it feel voicing Mario after almost 30 years?
It feels great.
If I can do my Mario impression, if that's fine?
Yeah, I love it.
Here goes. I'm about to fight for you. And.
Oh, wonderful, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was when I had the floating head. It was so easy to be silly then, It's like you got a head, you're bopping around. It was great. Hi.
Hi there. After all these years of voicing Mario, I guess it's a pretty wide neck question, but what's your favorite line that you've done for Mario?
Well, that's a great question. I love this like superstar and number one. Here we go. And it's just those little things. And thank you very much for playing my games. That's back from 96 and 64. Great fun.
What's your favorite line?
That's a good question. I actually like, thank you so much for playing my games.
That's pretty good. Next time, thank you.
I'll have that on my tombstone.
All right, Spider-Man, what's your question?
Hi, thanks for coming out, by the way.
Thank you.
So in the Mario and Luigi games, when you have Mario and Luigi speak in full sentences, I remember you did that sort of pseudo-Italian thing.
Yeah.
That's the part there, yeah. So how do you come up with something that sounds sort of pseudo-Italian but isn't quite actual Italian? How do you come up with that? What's the process of developing that, making it sound right compared to your normal stuff?
Acting is, when I was doing a clown in a play, Michael Liebert, the artistic director of Berkeley Rep, he goes, simplify, simplify, simplify. He didn't use his hand. And I didn't know what that meant because my brain was racing always. But the clown I was playing was completely dead-faced the whole time. But he could see in my eyes, even though it was theater, that my brain was racing. So sometimes you get out of your way in order to progress. Sometimes if you're thinking too much in a game, you're stopping yourself from, oh my gosh, this thing is going to happen, rather than engaging in the game and playing. So for me, the first step there was get out of my own way. Because I don't speak Italian gibberish, so it's just and two things, get out of your way, have fun. So, at the time, the little girls that I was being with and helping raise, they were young, and I remember them as babies always saying, having little catchphrases. So I put all those in there with this gibberish, silly Italian thing. I have no idea why. She's like, oh, that'd be fun. All that stuff is in there, and only I know it's there, and I don't even know if I would be able to find it. It was just being silly, just having fun.
Awesome. Thank
Something
you.
I recommend to everybody every day.
Yeah.
Find some time to be fun and silly.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, next question.
Hi, so when you first learned about in Super Mario Odyssey, Mario turning into a dinosaur, what was your reaction?
You know, I walked into the studio and I saw, like, you throw tappy and then, you know, you become the dinosaur. Or, you know, I saw the electricity and then it's a frog, ribbit, ribbit. And I'm like, this is going to be a magical game. I had goosebumps everywhere. And so I did that whole session, literally 3 days, and it was just absolute blissful joy. Yeah, it was great.
Thank you.
Thank you. I tried it in real life, it didn't work as well for me. Now I have a hat with a hole in it.
All right, go ahead.
Hi.
Hey,
That's okay.
You wanted to ask him where he got his hat.
that too, but do you have in Luigi's Mansion? How many different times did they make you say Mario? You know, like Mario.
You know, my whole thing as an actor is like, it's like, you do need a leash on me, because normally in those things you do 3 takes. You go, Mario, Mario, Mario. You do 3, then that's it. I probably did 300, you know. I do it until they say, no, Charles, stop. We really do have it. And I go, let me try it one more time. Okay, try one more time. And I do 30 more. Because my feeling was I want to make a library, so they have a library for the next 100 years to keep, you know, doing it whatever they want with those sounds, you know. So yeah, I never stop. Because I'm having fun, you know. It's like, come in, you know, it's time for dinner, now I'm playing that, you know. I was this kind of kid. My mother could not get me into a bathtub, you know. I mean, we're just head to foot. Before cell phones, you played in the mud, you played in the dirt, you know, head to foot filthy. And she'd get the bath. And I don't want to get in the bath, get in the bath, and I don't want to get in the bath. Once I got in the bath, you could not get me out of the bath. You know, I mean, it's like, honey, it's dinner, honey, bang, 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 honey, come on, get out of that bath, you know. And 2 more minutes, you know. So that's, yeah, I'm the same today.
That's a great question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And so much joy.
Charles, thanks for coming.
Hi.
So, I just wanted to ask, throughout your acting career, when was it that you actually felt like, hey, you know what, I made it. I'm there where I'm happy where I want to be as an actor.
That's a really great question. You know, about 5 years ago, I think, you know, I felt like I'm complete. You know, I'm happy doing Mario, I'm happy doing these things. I don't need to do any more auditions, I don't need to do any other characters, I'm having fun. You know, so I'll give that to other people. It's only the rare sort of thing when someone says, yeah, come and play it, you know, that I do anything different now. You know, and I love doing these shows. Going to these shows, having these panel discussions, meeting people, you know, it's the greatest. So that maybe 5 to 10 years ago.
So quite a while, huh?
Yeah, thank you.
Just to bounce off that question, because that was a great question. What is left in the bucket list at this point? Are there still things you want to do in your professional career that you haven't yet had the chance?
Nothing in my professional career, although I could keep doing what I'm doing for the next 30 years. You know, if suddenly film or, you know, if somebody from Star Trek The Next Generation said, come and be on an episode, I'd go like, yippee, you know. Sure, you know, my old buddies over there, the greatest people in the world, and working with them would be fabulous. I mean, doing something that's interesting and new. I'm always open. That's a great person.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. All right, next question.
Hi.
So I was curious,
whether it be TV, film, video games, whatever, has there ever been a role that you wish you could have played? Is there, if you had the opportunity to play any role, what would it have been?
Well, that's a great question. I would say not really. And I offered Mr. Miyamoto that I could do Link about 34 years ago. And he goes, no thanks. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm pretty content. I'm fulfilled. I'm joyful. But I would always be open to anything. It's like improv. It's all, you never say no when you're improving. You always say yes and. So, if the right project comes along, yes, and I want this much for it, and I want to do it on these terms, but always open to it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Before the next question, just a quick question for you, Charles. So I'm seeing that the clock is now at 12:46, but we see about 7 minutes left on our time.
Yeah, we have to be a little bit shorter than I wanted to be.
That's
today.
okay.
Yeah.
So we'll keep going. Next
Hold on
question.
to another question. Hi.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, for a minute. I was listening to you too. You're talking about voicing Link and how that didn't work.
Yeah.
What would Link sounded like if you were doing it?
I can't do that because there is another artist. I'm a big believer in the sacredness and respect of other artists. When another artist is doing something, I would never dream of going in there and doing something that they would do. Yeah. But I thank you. It sounds young and happy and joyful and aggressive.
Well, excuse me.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, now I'm sorry. All right, next question, real quick.
Hello, I'll be quick. Thank you so much for making my games. And on a personal level, whether it's movie, TV show, whatever, is there something you always recommend to people? You have to watch this. In video games like Super Mario Galaxy, if you're not a huge gamer, so accessible.
I think Mario Kart Double Dash is one of my favorite games ever played. I love Sunshine. I think Sunshine and 64, Galaxy, Odyssey. I think that with the nods to all the things in the past, really, really great stuff. So I'm very proud to be a part of that legacy. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, quickly, next question.
Hi.
Hi.
So you get a lot of questions about Mario and Luigi, but what about Mario? What is your favorite aspect about voicing Mario?
I just love that he's just so naughty, I love that his trademark, to me, is like, hey, about a day, And to me, it's just such a naughty little baby, And he gets away with it, And his ego, actually, it's a funny thing because really, the negative character aspect, what I try to do is take a negative character aspect and make it silly. Like uncontrolled anger is silly, even though it's really hurtful. While Luigi's self-pity is a very hurtful emotion, but turned on its head of being like, oh, poor me. Look at it. You realize if you pay attention to yourself, how silly you are when you're feeling sorry for yourself. Like, how silly am I to feel sorry for myself that I have coffee all over the floor? I did it. Take responsibility, clean it up, and make another cup of coffee. But it's like, so I love turning things on their head.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm having a great time.
Guys, unfortunately, with the time, I think we have time for 2 more questions.
Yeah, maybe we should go 5 minutes long.
5 minutes long. That's up to you. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Your question.
Charles, so first off, thanks for coming. Been playing your game since I was 3 years old. My question for you is, do you have any particular favorite games outside of the Mario franchise? And I do count Super Smash Bros.
Oh no, Smash Bros. Is in the franchise.
Wow.
That's completely in the franchise to me, and in my game, because that's a game that I love to play like this. Because it doesn't make any difference. If I play it like this, I'm still all the time. So I really don't play any other games except Mario games. I don't even go to movies because the last movie I saw was Born on the 4th of July. My little girls were like 4 and 2 years old, and the scene was just too violent. I couldn't sleep for 6 months. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. So I don't.
All right, Charles. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much.
I'll see you at the sign booth.
Thank you. I'll be there.
Hi. Next question.
Hi. So Charles, first and foremost, thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
I've been playing your game since I was 5.
Yay.
My question is, in all the years you voice acted, have you ever shared a booth with somebody, like a younger voice actor who you knew when you're just taking one look at him or her was very nervous, and you had to lift them up? Can you give any quick examples?
I don't think so, you know, because when I started in voiceover, it was a very small group. And as it evolves, now you're almost never in a booth. Like I work in a void. I'm either doing my under the covers production where my head is underneath the covers and I have pillows around my microphone and I'm doing a commercial or something. Or I'm in a studio in a booth, and you just don't work with people anymore. Unless you're doing like All in the Family or something like that. Not at all. Yeah, some of those cartoon shows you do, but I don't do those.
Yeah, I was fortunate, just real quick, I was fortunate enough to meet the voice actor of Squirrel Bunny, and I got to talk to him for a few minutes, and he's a younger guy, and he's only gone to a few conventions, and then he was nervous. I got to tell him, keep going to conventions so your fans can tell you, person to person,
yeah,
we love doing what you do. Keep doing what you do. Keep coming to conventions.
Yeah, thank you. That's
God
great.
bless you, Charles.
That's
You're number one. Woohoo!
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Hi, you're very tall.
Love the hat, by the way.
Thank you.
I was,
Is it a hat? It's a hat, yeah.
I was curious, how much do you think acting as all the characters you do change how you act as a person, like day to day?
Well, that's a good question. I think, the thing is, to me, life is a spiritual journey in a physical body, not a physical, it's just, we are not this. This is, circle me back to that question a little bit, because I didn't get it.
Well, it's like, you've been playing Mario and everyone so much, like, do you think, by doing things as these characters, like they tell you to do this or whatever, do you think, like, just the way you portray those characters kind of imprints on you, I guess?
Yeah, I hope so. Like I said earlier, I want to be Mario. I want to be this human being because it came out of my heart. Someone who is kind and caring and loving, always faithful, always loyal. All the things that I believe are part of appropriate energy from a masculine energy, let's say, is for me as a man. To be protective and caring and loyal and truthful. So I view that spiritual journey as like it's all connected to me.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you very much. Hi.
Hello. Out of all the Wario games, what is your favorite role, like for any Wario game, like WarioWare or Wario World?
I love that Shake It one where he's just, he just thinks this toilet is like his throne, and it's like he's just completely messed up on everything. I love that. I was just like, yeah, there you go. That's it right there. Love that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Hi.
What advice would you have for anybody who wants to be an actor?
To be an actor, I would say take acting classes in school. Take communication classes. Junior college has a lot of acting classes. High school, be in the plays, do that. Watch cartoons, play video games, listen, watch and observe. Because and also read Stanislavski books. Watch cartoons like someone with a big jaw. Like, oh my God, Because I'm gonna do a big ass, make it like that. Just play, and do voices and do things that are fun and silly, and be willing to fall on your face, be willing to, be the class clown if you want to be the class clown, or, just make it more private if you want to make it more private. Just go ahead and do it. Follow your heart, live your dreams, look for your happiness, because that's what you're here for, is to be happy. And when you are, you give it to everybody else.
That's a great question. Thank you.
That's a great question.
Charles,
hi.
I want to take this time real quick to say I am blessed that Mario has been introduced into my life. I've been playing him since I was 7 years old, and he has brought all the joy to my life.
Thank you.
So it comes to my question. As a theater actor, I started doing theater at college.
Oh, great.
I want to get into film, video game, and possible voice acting. Give me advice on how I could possibly get to that step by chance?
That's a good question. I started 47 years ago, and I have no idea what people do today, but it's got to be the same. Yes. do as much as you can do. Go to auditions, you know, do theater auditions to see if you can get an agent for voiceover, save every clip you've got. You know, I used to advertise, and it never worked. I sent out more things, you know, voiceover lights, you know, less filling, more joyful. And I spent a fortune on that stuff. I got one call from it. Hey, where'd you get your postcards done? Those are great. You know? So I don't know what it is, but just keep saying yes and keep trying it, you know? You can take classes. I mean, Steve Bloom is a great voice actor. He has online voice classes. If you're interested in that, you know, then he'll help you create a demo tape at certain levels, and then you have a calling card for agents, you know? I like that.
Awesome.
Thank you
so much,
Thank you very
You're
much.
number one.
Thank you. Good luck. I'll see you in the booth. Hi.
Hi, thank you so much for coming here again.
I'm happy.
I did me too. My question is, did you expect Waluigi to become such a popular character, and has that affected the way you portray him?
I never expected that, but I love the guy from the moment. As soon as I walked in, I think it was tennis, and I walked in and he said, "We want you to voice this guy." And I'm like, you know, he's like the antithesis of the nemesis of Luigi, as Wario is the nemesis of Mario, you know, from joy, love, happiness to anger, frustration. And so, you know, fear, the opposite of fear is kind of self-pity because, you know, I'm shy, therefore, you know, I'm hurt, so I get to hurt everything. So it was just like, and you start doing that, and you're like, yeah, that's it right there. You know, it's just been fun ever since.
It's fun playing as him.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wait. All right, and again, I just want to remind you of time. Are we okay to keep going, or do we
Okay,
have things?
5 more questions. I have to answer quickly, but yes.
Okay, guys, let's go.
Hi, Charles.
Hi.
I wanted to know what your happiest memory is as a person. What is the core of your joy for you?
Boy, that's a great question, and that's not a quick answer at all. Being in love with the person I'm in love with, recognizing that that person means everything to me.
Hello again, Charles.
Hi.
I know you hear this a million times before, but thanks for all your work, a lot that you do.
Thank you.
I know you mentioned, I think you did, that sometimes Nintendo lowers the pitch of the voices you do for Wario.
Oh, I never mentioned that. No, I don't know what they do. I go into the booth, I do what I do.
Well, like certain, I guess maybe it's just me misremembering, but I know sometimes his voice is lower and sometimes it's higher. But would you prefer they kept it higher, or is it better lower?
I don't know. I'm happy with whatever they do, you know? It's been 31 years of absolute joy and fun, so, you know, if they choose to modulate or, you know, I think they do with the babies. I think they have to do something, because at a certain point I can't do, you know, I can only reach so high.
I mean, that's fair, but I always preferred Wario's voice higher, since he was always this crazy guy, so I think it fits his personality.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd love to meet him.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right. Next question.
Hello, Charles. It's nice to finally meet you in person.
Thank you.
What I like about Mario is I like playing the Mario Kart games. And I also have the T-shirt.
Okay.
And this past couple of months, I saw the new Mario movie twice.
Oh, great. Good.
Yeah.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, one question. Another question. What do you like about your character Mario?
Oh, I love how he's loving, caring, joyful, happiness. He's very courageous, you know, he faces adversity with a let's go, you know, and he gets adversity. And I think that's the common thing about all humanity. We all live the same thing. That's why we're all the same. The tears of a mother anywhere in the world are the same tears. It's just a different language, different sound. But it's the same thing, the blood is the same. It's exactly the same, you know?
Yeah, and I have another question too.
Just one point, we have to move along.
Yeah, so move on, because I've got to get back to the table, and we're already past you, but thank you.
Very, very quickly, please.
Oh, sure. Are we allowed to get a picture with you?
Yeah, back to my
at
booth.
the table, yes. Thanks.
Back at my table like over there.
Right over there.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Next question.
Hi.
Did you fly from California from here?
No, I came from Lima, Peru. We were just visiting some of Lima, the ruins down there. That's my passion in life is travel. My partner's passion is travel. So we were down there, and I go from here. I go to Spain to travel. My partner's in Galicia right now. We're going to meet in northern Spain. So do that.
Are you the voice of Mario from the video game or the cartoon TV show?
The cartoon TV show? No, that was Lou Albano.
Lou Albano, yeah.
Yeah, 1989. Yeah, I was still a kid.
Awesome. Thank you for your question.
Hi.
Next question.
Hey Charles.
Hi.
Right off the bat, thank you so much for playing my game.
Thank you.
And my question is, I know that you know several languages.
Yeah.
You're fluent in a couple in Spanish, I think.
Spanish, French, and some Italian, yeah.
And some Italian. Have you ever surprised people with speaking in their native language?
All the time. You know, when you're in Italy and you speak somebody's language, they are so grateful for it. And in Spain, in South America, I'm just in Peru, you know, I talk to everybody in their language, and it's like, they're like, oh my gosh, you know, I wish I spoke Quechua, you know, that's the Inca language, you know, that would really shock them.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was a kid, we lived in Spain and France, and you know, and nobody spoke English. So if you wanted something, you had to speak in their language. And there was a difference in the world before English became the #1 language.
Yeah.
And that was lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, next question.
Howdy, Charles Martinet.
Hi.
It's great meeting you face to face.
Thank you.
Out of all the voice lines for both Wario and Waluigi, what is your most favorite for those greedy yet mischievous dwarves? My point exactly.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're number one in my book.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi.
Well, first of all, I have to say, Mr. Martinet, thank you so much for coming to TooManyGames. Woo!
It's such a joy. Thank
You
you.
brought such a magical aspect to my childhood. I loved Super Mario Bros. 3 as a kid, and obviously everyone gets angry at some point. So, do you ever find yourself turning into Wario when you're in a bad mood to lift up your spirits?
Always, always, always. And I always end up with a because that just makes me smile in the end, isn't it?
As long as you're having a good time about it, I think that's what matters most.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You were on national.
Thank you.
Couldn't have said it better. Thank you guys for all the work you guys are doing. Check this out. I know you have to run. Where can everybody follow you?
Oh yeah, I think I'm over there in the corner over on that side over that way before the merchandising room.
Excellent. Last question before you go. Do you feel the love?
I do.